Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with another live update. Thursday evening, 7:35 p.m. And we're going to go through some of the news that has caught my attention today in the Spanish press, of course, and also some of the comments that were left on yesterday's video. Quite a lot of activity on yesterday's video. Some of the topics there causing a fair bit of debate. Now, the first piece of news today, this one here, the Balearic and Canary Islands aim to maintain tourism figures despite economic storm in Germany and United Kingdom. According to the INE, which is the Institute for Statistics here in Spain, in August, 2.2 million travellers arrived in the Balearic Islands, and more than half of them were German and British. The Canary Islands received more than 1 million tourists in the same month, of which 43% were British and 14% German. These markets are therefore crucial for the island's economy. Businesses in the sector are keeping an eye on what might happen to the economies of both countries as the pound has plummeted to historic lows, and the OECD predicts that Germany could suffer an economic recession by 2023. This, along with inflation and rising energy prices, could weigh on tourism figures in one of the island's strongest seasons for tourism. Despite this, the sector's prospects, for the end of the year are, for the moment, good. In fact, businessmen in Fuerteventura expect this winter to be better than 2019, and in Mallorca they will keep half of the hotel fleet open in November to meet national and international demand. So the economic storm that is hitting some of the biggest economies in Europe, Germany, of course, in the European Union, the United Kingdom outside the European Union, but a huge market for Spain, as we saw there. The number one group of tourists in the Canary Islands are the British, and also a lot of British people heading to places like the Balearic Islands, Mallorca, Menorca, Ibiza, and the like, and hoping that the economies there don't get too bad, the pound doesn't get too weak, because as we know, people want to travel to Europe with a strong pound, get a little bit of extra bang for their quid, as they say, and hopefully the tourist numbers will be maintained in those two islands, which, as we have mentioned, or which I have mentioned on numerous occasions on this channel, are the most popular parts of Spain for people to visit. The Balearic Islands especially, I think, the number one place in the country that tourists visit, and the Canary Islands not far behind, especially that winter tourism, those cold winter months that are coming. And the Canary Islands maintains that steady, warm, nice winter temperature, and that's what people are looking for, basically. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind a holiday to the Canaries in January, when the weather here is very, very cold indeed. Now, the second piece of news, I'm going to go through this quickly today because there's a lot of news and some comments as well that we need to see. But the second piece of news is this one. Spain records highest unemployment figures since the third quarter of 2008. This is from the newspaper Público. Employment increased by 77,700 jobs between July and September, 0.4% more than in the previous quarter. The total number of employed people stands at 20.54 million, its highest figure since the third quarter of 2008, when it exceeded 20.55 million workers, according to data published on Thursday by the INE, the National Statistics Institute, Instituto Nacional de Estadística. So there we go. Spain records highest unemployment figures since the third quarter of 2008. So employment good in this country. Fantastic. That according to El Público. The irony is that when you go to another newspaper that's on the other side of politics, so for example, Público is left-wing politics here in Spain, or a left-wing newspaper, even more left than El País, if that is possible. If we go to a right-wing newspaper, this is the headline that they're going with today. Unemployment rises by 60,800 people to 12.7%, and almost 282,000 fewer jobs are created than a year ago. The labour market is breaking down as growth sinks to stagnation, and there are already analyses such as that of Asempleo, which suggests that job creation in the labour market has come to an end on the threshold of a recessionary cycle, on similar terms to those of the 2008 crisis, but with a weaker labour market. Today, 42% of the unemployed have been out of work for more than a year, compared with only 20% in 2008. In fact, more than 12% have been unemployed for 4 years. That is, 1 in 10 has been expelled from the labour market, as Empleo points out. So let's just have a look at this again here. So we've got this article here from El Público, left-wing publication, pro-government. Spain records highest employment figures since the third quarter of 2008. Okay. And then anti-government newspaper, unemployment rises by 60,800 people. So that's what we're dealing in here. That's what we're dealing with here with the press. You've got one side saying that things are fantastic, unemployment, jobs are being created, as we saw here in El Público, highest unemployment figures since the third quarter of 2008. And then on the other side of the political spectrum, we have this, unemployment rises by 60,800 people. So where are we at? Is it good news or is it bad news? I can't work it out. And this, unfortunately, is something that you come across on a daily basis here in Spain when you go through the press, which is something that I have to do every day to put these videos out. The right-wing press, the left-wing press, the press that's in the middle. It's very, very difficult to work out what's going on because everybody interprets the figures in their own way, and that's the news that they put out. So good news for some, bad news for others, and that's where we're at, unfortunately, at the moment. Now, fourth piece of news, if I can spit that one out, this one here. The Traffic Department forecasts 6.6 million road journeys over the All Saints' Day long weekend. The Directorate General of Traffic, the DGT, is launching from 3 p.m. on Friday, the 28th of October, in other words, tomorrow, until midnight on Tuesday, the 1st of November, a special device on the occasion of the All Saints' Day long weekend, for which 6.6 million long-distance road journeys are expected. Although this year, All Saints' Day will be celebrated on Tuesday, many citizens will enjoy 4 days of rest in different places to their usual ones, and many of them will opt for the car as a means of transport. For this reason, it has announced that it will increase the human and material resources at its disposal to guarantee the safety of and fluidity of traffic. So it's got the wrong pronoun there. It should be it instead of he, the translator for you. So yeah, if you're in the coastal areas here in Spain, get ready. The Madrileños or the Madrileños are coming. 6.6 million people going to be traveling all around the country. National long weekend. Monday is a school holiday, not a normal holiday. It's a school holiday. No kids in the Madrid community at least have school, which is why a lot of people are going to pack their bags and head away for the long weekend, which, as we see there, 4-day long weekend. So tomorrow is going to be a busy day on the roads. And next Tuesday is also going to be a busy day on the road. So be prepared if you are driving around Spain over the next few days. And as I said, if you're in the coastal areas, get ready for the invasion because people are coming. People are coming. As we see here, 6.6 million road journeys, as the majority of people obviously travel by car to their coastal homes or their pueblos or wherever they go for the long weekend. Not sure if it's a long weekend or a school holiday on Monday in other autonomous communities, but Madrid it is. So there we go. Now the next piece of news today, this one here. The Citizens Party, that's right, they still exist, sets a date for the collapse of the state pension system, January 2035, they predict. How can it be that pensions go up 7 times more than the salaries that can support them, is the question they are asking. Ciudadanos is starting its public phase of refoundation by listening to reality on the street. In the middle of the interchange of Madrid's Plaza de Castilla, the Orange Party has charged against the current system of benefits, to which they have already set an expiry date, the 1st of Jan 2035. The president of Citizens, Inés Arrimadas, criticised on Thursday the increase in pensions designed by the government, she says, purely for electioneering and turning its back on the younger generations who will bear the burden of this injection of 19 billion euros extra. 19 billion extra. 19,000 million, 19 billion extra. So there we go. The Citizens Party listening to the word on the street. Now, I don't know which type of people they talk to, because Yolanda Díaz also talks to the people on the street, according to her, one of the Podemos or Izquierda Unida politicians, and she says that the pension system's just fine. There's no problems at all. But the Citizens Party, who, as we saw, they were trying to resurrect themselves because they have been smashed in elections recently. In fact, I don't think they even exist in places like Andalusia, where they were in the government up until last year, are saying that the pension system will collapse in 2035. Now, let me do the maths. 2022 to 2035. What's that? 13 years? How old am I now? So that's going to be more or less when I hit the retirement age. So thank you very much for that, Citizens Party, for bringing home some reality to people that are going to retire around that time, that the system's going to collapse, according to Ciudadanos. Now, this, again, as I said, it depends who you talk to. If you talk to centre right-wing politicians like Ciudadanos, there's a problem. If you talk to the left, there's no problem at all. So again, who do we believe? Or just we don't believe anybody until the system does collapse, or it doesn't collapse. We just have to wait and see. I don't know. But according to the citizens' calculations there, the pension system in this country is doomed. All right, what else we got going on here? Let's have a look here quickly. The first comment of the day, this one here. I'm in Turkey at the moment, and the food compared to Spain is amazing. Had a plate of mixed mezes. I'm not sure how you pronounce that word. Mixed mezes last night, full of colour and vegetables. Salads are also delicious. In Spain, it's all about meat. I love meat, but where on earth are the vegetables? Why no veg? The markets are full of veg, but it's like the Spanish don't like them. Weird. Yeah, the veg normally tends to be mixed in sometimes with different dishes. For example, as you said, you can buy a lot of veg at the supermarket, but you might not see it on your plate when you go to a restaurant. Somebody made the comment the other day that you see a lot of potatoes on your plate, but you rarely will you see carrots or cauliflower or broccoli or anything like that on your plate. You might get some other greens maybe in some of the northern parts of the country. In Galicia, they have some greens that are quite common in there, cocido and things like that. But here in the center of Madrid, even in a cocido, you get potatoes, you get chickpeas, you might get a bit of carrot, but that's about it. Not a lot of vegetables in things like that. So, yeah, very meat orientated, and some people also complain if you are vegetarian that it is difficult to find vegetarian meals at traditional restaurants here in Spain. They don't tend to cater for the vegetarian, meat and fish based only. You might be able to get a salad. You might be able to get a soup if it hasn't been if there's no ham bone being used in the soup, which is also common. So yeah, lack of variety when it comes to vegetables at restaurants. But then again, as you said, when you go to a supermarket, you can find a fairly decent variety of vegetables. Absolutely. All right, good. Another comment coming in here. Let's have a look. One here from Koffa. Hi, Stu. Just wondering, next time you do the Menu del Dia vids, why don't you diversify a tad? For example, you could try out a churrasqueria or a restaurant that specializes on a certain dish. Yes, thanks, Koffa. I have thought about this, and especially the aspect that you mentioned there at the end of specializing on a certain dish. I have thought about doing something like that. But again, it's a question of time. With all of these public holidays in the way, it's not easy to find time. But the other type of restaurant that you mentioned there, Koffa Churrasqueria, I think they're in Galicia. I haven't seen too many in Madrid. In Galicia, they're fairly common, places that like a barbecue type restaurant. Portugal, they're also very common for chicken and ribs and things like that. But here in Spain, here in Madrid, I haven't seen too many churrasquerias. But if I travel to Galicia, I could go to one of those restaurants, because the time that I spent in Galicia, I absolutely loved the barbecued chicken and the barbecued ribs and the other barbecue dishes that they do at those restaurants. Fantastic. Thanks for the suggestion, Koffa. The content, let's have a look. This one. Jason, I enjoy Spanish food. I do not like fast food takeaway, and I'm always shocked how many of these places keep opening in Spain. Yes, Jason, me too. I can't believe it, to be honest. I didn't know that that fast food would ever be as popular as it is becoming nowadays. And whether it's I don't know whether it's a price thing. I don't know whether Spanish people are changing their eating habits. But especially on the outskirts of the big cities, it's just you could be in any United States state, basically, or an Australian state. The amount of fast food restaurants that are popping up. Taco Bell, didn't see that until a few years ago. As I said, these little Mexican fast food places opening up all over the place. Popeyes is here now as well with their chicken, with their Louisiana chicken. You got KFC, one of the more traditional ones. You've got the Burger Kings, the McDonald's, and all of these other burger restaurants that are popping up as well. Peggy Sue's, which I'd never seen before, popping up. Pizza restaurants, fast food, the traditional ones like VIPS, VIPS, which has been around for a long time in Madrid. So fast food does seem to be the predominant restaurant that's opening recently, at least where I am here. Can't talk about the rest of Spain, but according to the comment here from Jason, shocked by how many of these places keep opening. So obviously where he is, it is also the case. Fast food. I read one reason why, and it's because of the shopping center culture. So 30 years ago, Spain didn't have a shopping center culture, but all of these shopping centers have opened up on the outskirts of the cities. So the big cities, medium-sized cities all have these shopping centers where they have, the typical shopping center that you get in the UK, the States, the mall in the States, shopping center in Australia, and fast food restaurants concentrate in these places because people go there at the weekends, mainly at the weekends, spend the whole day there, go to the cinema, and then afterwards they're looking for something quick and cheap to eat. So fast food restaurants in those areas are one of the reasons why they pop up, in shopping areas mainly. So you'll see a lot of shopping areas that have a lot of fast food restaurants around them. So if you have like a Leroy Merlin or a Decathlon or a Media Market, which are some of the big retailers here, you'll see fast food restaurants around these places because people do the shopping and then afterwards they grab a snack in these fast food restaurants rather than more traditional restaurants on the outskirts of the cities mainly. All right, now we'll have a look at one more comment. Let's see if I can find one here quickly. This one here. Ray, I live on the Costa del Sol and thought the local language is English. Haha, Ray. A bit of humor there. Yeah, you could be confused in some parts of the Costa del Sol for thinking that English was the language down there because of the big English-speaking communities that are all along that Costa del Sol. And also in some of the Valencia, Alicante region as well. You can find supermarkets, butcher shops, pubs, everything catering to the English speaker down there. Completely different in the rest of the country. But on the Costa del Sol, you could sometimes be under the impression that that was the case. And some parts of Tenerife are also like that as well. Some parts of Mallorca, where there is a huge concentration of English-speaking people, and all you hear when you walk down the street is English. And this comment, of course, pops up because yesterday I think we spoke about whether or not Spanish politicians should be fluent in another language like English when they're doing their negotiations in the European Union, or their world negotiations, or whether they should have an interpreter by their side. And I think the majority of people said that people should try and learn another language, and also English speakers should try to learn another language, because a lot of people are a little bit lazy when it comes to speaking a second language. A lot of people try, but sometimes it proves a little bit too difficult. They give up, and because basically everywhere you go in the world you find people that speak English, people get lazy. I've been there, I've done it. Everybody's been in the same situation, I think. So the 1st of November will be the next live stream. So hopefully I'll see you there. Have a good day. Have a good long weekend if you're here in Spain. Hasta luego. Hasta entonces. Adios.